Hey, Shalom, Shalom. Hey, first and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. Hey, double honors to the apostles and elders. Salutations to your Hakim that's out there doing the work of truth and sincerity. Sinai, Allah with the beloved truth. And today's lesson, is just a reflection on the word Zion, to Zion, which means monument or memorial. And, I just did a little reading, did a little small research, and basically, Zion, city of David, was part of Jerusalem. And as you see here, it says it included the more ancient part of the city, which the citadel and temple Mount Moriah, on which the temple was built, being reckoned to Zion, separated by a narrow valley, also called the city of David. And which we're gonna go into right now, because basically the Lord is bringing this back, and this is where the law. This is where the law, proceeded from, Zion, and this is where it's gonna proceed from, in the future world to come, and being that David is our king, David, the Lord is going to restore the house of David, that righteous, noble house of the Lord, where the righteous is going to reign and rule. And so, I just wanted to, reflect on that. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. We only have a few precepts, but David has established this with the intent, to glorify the Lord, glorify the people of the Lord, and in the future to come, the Lord, He's gonna live through us, and that law is gonna shine forth from Zion. But Salaki, Lord willing, this is edifying. Lord willing, it makes sense to you, brothers. So this is Second Samuel 5:1, start at 1. It says, "Then came all the tribes of Israel to David unto Hebron, and spake, saying, Behold, we are thy bone and thy flesh. Also in time past, when Saul was king over us, thou wast he that led us out and brought us in Israel, and brought us in Israel. And the Lord Yahweh said to thee, Thou shalt feed my people Israel, thou shalt be called the Lord Israel. So all the elders of Israel came to the king of Hebron, and King David made a league with them in Hebron before the Lord Yahweh. And they anointed David king over Israel." All right. David was 30 years old when he began to reign. And he reigned 40 years in Hebron. He reigned over Judah. And he reigned 40 years. In Hebron, he reigned over Judah 7 years and 6 months. And in Jerusalem, he reigned 33 years over all Israel and Judah. And the king of his men went to Jerusalem unto the Jebusites, the inhabitants of the land, which spake unto David, saying, Except thou take away the blind and the lame, thou shalt not come in hither. Thinking David cannot come in hither, nevertheless David took the stronghold of Zion. The same is the city of David. All right, pretty much we're focusing in on that. Because basically, after David was made king, he brought the Ark of the Covenant into Zion, or Jerusalem, which Zion is, it's in Jerusalem, but it's more of the citadel, it's the ancient part of Jerusalem. So it's like, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's where the law proceeded. You know how Esau has his courts, his Congress and all this other stuff, set up, the Library of Congress and all their records and all of that stuff set up, and basically that's what Zion is to us, and not to focus in on Esau, but just basically, just showing you the municipality and how it's set up. And every nation has their prime place of where they do justice and so on and so forth. And Zion is that for us. And it says, and David said on that day, whosoever getteth up to the gutter, smiteth the Jebusites in the lame and the blind that are hated of David's soul, he shall be chief and captain. Wherefore they said, the blind and the lame shall not come into the house. So David dwelt in the fort and called it the city of David, which is Zion, right? And David built round about from Millo and inward. David went on and grew great, and the Lord power of hosts was with him. All right. And Hiram, king of Tyre, sent messengers to David, and cedar trees, and carpenters, and masons, and they built David an house. And David perceived that the Lord Yahweh had established him king over Israel, and that he had exalted his kingdom for his people Israel's sake. And David took him more concubines and wives out of Jerusalem after he was come from Hebron, and there were yet sons and daughters born to David. So basically, basic part I wanted to, capture here is that, after David was made king, the city Zion came about, the city of David, which was pretty much our citadel. It was I don't want to say the capital, but, Zion is very significant, And this is Micah 4:1. It says, but in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of the Lord shall be established in the top of the mountains, and it shall be exalted above the hills, and people shall flow unto it. Now, another thing to point out, it says a sunny place is sunny mountain. And, and pretty much, I believe that correlates to, basically how the law is going to shine forth out of Zion, So verse 2 in Micah 4:2, it says, and many nations shall come and say, come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, Yahweh, and to the house of the power of Jacob. And he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth forth of Zion. All right. For the law shall go forth of Zion, and the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem. Now, Jerusalem and Zion is pretty much in the same place, but like I said, Zion is a more ancient part of Jerusalem, so it's more sacred, so to speak, and let's continue. So let me see, what else did I add? And I just thought it was significant, man. So, bear with me. Let's see. So, Salaki. So I started Amos 9 and 11. All right. Amos 9 and 11. It says, in that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old. All right. And so that, Zion, to Zion one, that memorial is going to be reestablished. The city of David is going to be reestablished, and the law is going to go forth from Zion, and so verse 12, it says that they may possess the remnant of Edom, all right, and of all the heathen which are called by my name, said the Lord Yahweh, that doeth this. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that the plowman shall overtake the reaper and the treader of grapes, him that soweth seed, and the mountains shall drop sweet wine, and all the hills shall melt. All right. And so the Lord is going to reestablish, the house of David, the righteous men that were, under David, because these are pretty much the first fruits, the elect, the predestined elect that's gonna be glorified with Yahweh Shai. Okay, verse 13 it says, "Behold, the days come, said the Lord, that the plowman shall overtake the reaper and the treader of grapes. Him that soweth seed in the mountains shall drop sweet wine, and all the hills shall melt. All right, and I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel. They shall build away cities." All right, and right now Zion is a ruin. Jerusalem is a ruin, pretty much. It's habitable, but we got the heathen living there. We got the heathen occupying the nation. And for the most part, Israel is defiled right now as we speak. It's defiled because we got the heathen nations defiling it with their manner of living, their manner and way of life. It says, "And they shall build away cities and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and drink the wine thereof. They shall also make gardens and eat the fruit thereof of them, and I will plant them upon their land." You see, "And they shall no more be pulled out of their land, which I have given them, said the Lord thy power." Okay, and just really wanted to point that out, because Zion is significant, and basically what we're gonna see in the future world to come is the reestablishment of Zion. Not just the land, but the people with the dignified, righteous mindset. Which is beautiful. All right, Isaiah 58:12. Let me see if I can go up a few words. Yep. Let me see. I'll start at 8. Isaiah 58:8. It says, "Then shall thy light break forth as the morning." All right. "And thine health shall spring forth speedily, and thy righteousness shall go before thee. The glory of the Lord Yahweh shall be thy reward." Okay. And that glory is what? Immortality, perfection in righteousness, perfection as just a perfect body, a perfect mind. It says, "Then shalt thou call, and the Lord shall answer. Thou shalt cry, and he shall say, Here I am. If thou take away from the midst of thee the yoke, the putting forth of the finger, and speaking vanity." Okay, it's pretty much that's what our people are into now. It says, "And if thou draw out thy soul to the hungry, and satisfy the afflicted soul." That's why the scriptures say, "Make thy body a living sacrifice." Because basically that's what we're out there doing. We draw out thy soul to the hungry, and satisfy the afflicted. "Then shall thy light rise in obscurity." Because of course it says, "In thy darkness be as the noonday." Okay, and so the Lord is going to pretty much rise us up, man. And we're gonna be made righteous. All right. So it says, "And the Lord shall guide thee continually, and satisfy thy soul in drought, and make fat thy bones, and thou shalt be like a watered garden, and like a spring of water whose waters fail not." All right. It says, "And they that shall be of thee shall build the old waste old waste places. Thou shalt raise up the foundations of many generations, and thou shalt be called the repairer of the breach, the restorer of paths to dwell in." All right. And so this is, This is super significant, because we're setting up a standard for our people. We're pretty much the front line to help reestablish and to help turn our people back to the Lord, which is, part of that marriage, Yahushua being married back to, his people, and the Lord taking that reproach off of us, reestablishing us as a nation of nobility, of righteousness. And hey, there's going to be a point in time in the future world to come there, whatever we say is going to go forth in the world, and all nations will have to adhere to it. All right, and so I believe that's pretty much it. I just wanted to touch on the word to Zion, memorial, monument, because we're going to be reestablished. We're going to be reestablished, and the Lord is going to pretty much raise those ruins, and it's going to be glory once again. Once again, once and for all. But Lord willing, is edifying. And shalom.